Okay, so we're diving into something today that has caused a lot of debate and controversy over the years.
Oh, yeah.
Apollo 11, this is the launch operations manager. The launch team wishes you good luck and Godspeed. Thank you very much. No, it'll be a good one.
3 minutes, 25 seconds and counting. We'll still go at this time. We'll be coming up in the automatic sequence about 10.
And I know a lot of you listeners out there are really into this topic, this whole idea.
Yeah.
Did the U.S. really land on the moon back in 1969?
Right.
Or was the whole thing faked?
Big question.
Yeah. And, we got a question from one of our listeners.
Okay.
And they basically posed the question, well, if we really landed on the moon in 69, why don't we have a moon station there by now?
Right.
I mean, it's been, over 50 years.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think it really kind of gets at,
Yeah.
the heart of what makes space exploration so challenging.
Yeah.
On the surface, it might seem simple enough.
Yeah.
We went there once. Why not just set up shop?
Right, just build a little house.
Right, exactly. Get a contractor.
Stick some IKEA furniture up there.
Yeah, exactly. But, you got to think about it. Imagine trying to build a house that can withstand constant bombardment from micrometeoroids.
Oh, wow.
Traveling at, tens of thousands of miles an hour.
Yeah.
That's just one tiny piece of the puzzle when it comes to establishing a long-term human presence on the moon.
It's true. I never really thought about all that stuff that's going on up there all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It really makes you appreciate,
Absolutely.
what NASA accomplished back in 69.
Yeah.
But like you said, it was a short-term mission.
Exactly.
They weren't planning on moving in or anything.
It wasn't about permanent residence. It was really about proving a point.
Yeah. And it was a very specific set of circumstances that drove those Apollo missions.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like you said, the Cold War, the space race against the Soviets,
Mm-hmm.
and the U.S. really needed to show the world that they were the top dog when it came to technology.
Yeah, they needed a win.
Yeah.
They needed a big, flashy win.
Exactly. And so, that one small step for Neil Armstrong was really a giant leap for mankind when you consider the whole context.
For sure, no doubt about it.
Yeah. Yeah. But even today, there are a lot of people who question whether it even happened.
It's amazing how
Yeah.
that conspiracy has persisted.
It is. I mean, I've seen the documentaries, I've read the articles.
Right.
What are some of the main things that these hoax proponents point to as evidence?
Well, a lot of it centers around perceived inconsistencies in the photos and footage from the missions.
Okay.
For example, one of the most common ones you hear is, why are there no stars in the background of the moon landing pictures?
Okay. Yeah. That one, I've always wondered about that.
Right.
It's kind of strange.
And then another popular one is, why does the American flag appear to be waving in the wind when there's no atmosphere on the moon?
Yeah. Those are the two big ones that I always hear about, too.
Right.
And I got to admit, they always made me wonder a little bit.
Sure.
What's the explanation for those things?
So let's start with the flag.
Okay.
The flag was actually designed with a telescopic pole along the top
Okay.
to make it stand out horizontally.
Oh, so it wasn't drooping down.
Exactly. It was meant to look like it was flying proudly.
I
And
see.
as for that waving effect, well, it's not actually waving.
What is it then?
It's just wrinkles.
Wrinkles.
Yeah, from how the flag was folded and stored for the journey to the moon.
Okay, so it got kind of crunched up.
Right, exactly. And those wrinkles stayed put even after the flag was unfurled, so it created that illusion of movement.
Oh, I see. Okay, so sometimes things aren't always as they appear.
Exactly.
What about the missing stars? Is that another one of those tricks of the eye or something?
It is kind of, think of it this way. Have you ever tried to take a picture of a friend standing in front of a brightly lit window at night?
Oh, yeah.
You can see your friend just fine.
Right.
But the view outside is totally washed out.
Right, a little blown out.
It's all about photographic exposure. The lunar surface was so brightly lit by the sun
Okay.
that the camera settings used by the astronauts were optimized to capture those details. The surface, the lander, all that.
Right.
To capture the faint light of stars, they would have needed different settings.
Okay, I see.
Which just wasn't a priority for the mission.
Right. It makes sense.
So it's not that the stars weren't there, it's just that we can't see them in the photos.
Okay, so just bad photography, basically.
Yeah, in a way, yeah, you could say that.
But not intentional.
Right.
It's just the way the cameras worked back then.
Exactly.
Now, let's think about this for a second.
Okay.
During the Cold War, the U.S. and the Soviet Union were constantly trying to one-up each other.
Oh, yeah. They were always at each other's throats.
If the moon landing had been faked, Don't you think the Soviets would have jumped at the chance to expose the U.S.?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it would have been a huge propaganda victory for them.
It would have been a PR nightmare for the U.S.
Exactly. It's hard to imagine they could have kept a secret that big under that level of scrutiny.
Right. It would have been like trying to hide a giant elephant in a studio apartment.
Yeah, impossible, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Plus, you've got to factor in all the independent verification from other countries around the world.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, tracking stations and scientists worldwide were monitoring those Apollo missions.
Right.
And confirming all the data that was coming back.
Absolutely. And those countries weren't exactly friendly to the U.S. at the time.
Exactly. So to fake it on a global scale would have been virtually impossible.
Pretty much you'd need a worldwide conspiracy.
Yeah, you'd need everyone to be in on it.
Exactly.
So all things considered, it seems like the evidence really does support the moon landing.
Yeah. I think when you weigh it all out, the evidence is pretty clear.
Right.
While there will always be some who doubt, the hoax claims usually fall apart when you examine them closely.
Right. They don't really hold up to scrutiny.
Not at all.
It's still fascinating to me, though, how these conspiracy theories have persisted for so long.
I think for some people, it's just hard to accept the idea of such a monumental achievement, you know?
Right. Like it's almost too big to believe.
It feels like something out of a movie.
Exactly.
And it's easier to believe in a conspiracy than it is to believe that we actually achieve something so incredible.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. But what if we could redirect that same energy and curiosity?
Oh, I like where you're going with this.
Towards the future of space exploration.
Yes.
Imagine the possibilities if we really put our minds to it.
Absolutely.
I mean, we could build that moon base that we were talking about earlier.
We could. We absolutely could.
It might be challenging.
Oh, yeah. It would be a massive undertaking.
But it's not impossible.
Not at all. And the things we could learn from having a permanent presence on the moon.
It'd be incredible.
It would revolutionize our understanding of the universe.
Yeah. And it would pave the way for even more ambitious missions.
Like sending humans to Mars.
Exactly. To Mars and beyond.
So instead of dwelling on what might have been faked in the past.
Yeah. Let's focus on what we can achieve in the future.
Let's use that same energy and curiosity
to push the boundaries of human exploration.
I love it.
I think that's a great note to end on.
Absolutely.
It's a thought-provoking question to leave our listeners with.
I hope it inspires them.
Yeah, so keep that spirit of curiosity alive as you continue to explore this topic. And maybe you'll be part of the generation that takes us back to the moon this time to stay.
Wouldn't that be something?
It would be amazing.
It would be a dream come true.
All right, that's it for today's Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.
See ya.